Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Damien Alexander. I am the business representative for SQFI Asia Pacific. Thank you for either joining us live or watching this potentially at a later date. Our topic today is digital transformation being future ready. We've had a number of requests and questions and so forth from some of our clients around this topic, and it's an area which I have to claim I'm not a technical expert in this area, hence why we have a technical expert in. So we are proud and happy to be presenting this to you and very much value you joining us for this presentation. Before I introduce Daniel, I would like to actually give you a little bit of an update in the SQF world. So this is our business development team. For those who are not aware, we do have some more people. We certainly have a technical team and a marketing team and so forth. This is our business development team, which includes myself, based in Australia. Some of you would also know Umi, who's also based in Australia as well. So our role is obviously business development, but support. So my contact details, I'll provide them to you at the end of this presentation. But if you have any questions regarding SQF, certification process path, maintaining certification, etc., or looking to become certified, particularly around the different types of codes, then our role is to support you and help you and to support industry, current and new business. So we have a team designed to help. We're all out there internationally to help industry. A couple of other updates. We have our SQF Unites Conference. Historically, we've run this conference annually. We did with COVID. We had obviously it wasn't possible. So we're back again in New Orleans this year in March. It's a very well attended conference. I think our numbers are creeping up to capacity. So from the 11th to 14th of March in New Orleans. So if you're lucky enough to head over, if you're joining us from Australia, which most people are, we've got some people from New Zealand on as well. Yes, we welcome, encourage you, and certainly go to the SQF website under events. We have a whole heap of information about what we're working through with Unites. So if you're going, fantastic. It's going to be a great event and conference. One of the questions which I always get when I'm talking to industry is, when's edition 10 coming out? When's SQF edition 10 coming out? Because rumor has it that it's going to be here. Well, first of all, we're not looking until 2025. So it's not happening tomorrow. It's not happening this year. There's some things that we're putting in place that we need to put in place before we get to that stage. But what I wanted to do is run you through just and this image, I might add, is a draft. So it's not final, but giving you some insight into the process and how it works. I do encourage you all to go to sqfi.com news. And there's if you go to that page, there's news and blog. And under the blog, you can register to get the blogs and you'll get up-to-date information of what's happening, where it's at, where we're going with the new code, and also looking for industry feedback. So, so it's important to note that specific details of this process will vary. And for the most accurate information, please always go back and check onto SQFI.com news. So the decision to go to a new code, there's lots of things that go into it. The ultimate decision is made by SQFI, but it's in collaboration with industry stakeholders and experts. And we typically go through a systematic process, including stakeholder consultation. You guys who's joining us today, public reviews, you have the opportunity to review it as well, the draft standard when we get to it, before we actually finalize the new edition. So one of the things that we're really adamant about is getting industry feedback and input into the new edition and that code process. So to give you a quick overview of the steps we go through, very briefly, is there's an initiation. So we look at, is there a need to change the standard? Is there changes in regulations, advancements in science, feedback from stakeholders? The next step is we form a committee, committees and working groups. So they're formed. And then we get a consistency of representatives across the food industry from producers, processors, retailers, regulatory bodies, scientific experts, quality management. It can be a mixed blend, but we certainly need those representatives as part of those committees. Part of that then is we review the current version 9 and look for areas for improvement. What do we need to look at? Is there clarification? Is there elements that need to be taken out? So it's not always adding in. We do look at, and consideration by those working groups. We then gather stakeholder input. So input sought from all stakeholders by various means, surveys, public consultations. Please have your input, industry forums. So feedback from different parts of the supply chain and food safety professionals is considered. We then draft the new standard based on feedback, identify improvements. The committees and working groups draft the new edition. The language is carefully crafted to be clear, concise, and applicable across diverse sectors of the food industry. It then goes out to public consultation. So this is the new version 10 draft. Will go out to public consultation. So all of the industry stakeholders, manufacturers, growers, pack houses, anyone who, certification bodies, any interested parties, we're looking for that feedback. We then go through and revise it, finalise it, and the final version of the edition is then reviewed and approved. We then go to publication. So along with we always issue guidance documents as part of that publication process, so guidance for the new code. And if you remember, people who've been around for a while, numbering and so forth, which is always, it can be a challenge. So we have historically done some guidance on that. Likewise, when we launch, we go through some training and implementation. So we do have supporting training materials and programs that are developed to help organisations understand the new standard. And likewise, certification bodies, importantly, auditors are trained to assess the compliance of the new edition. So aware of what the requirements are, what's the intent, how to go about auditing that process. And then it is ongoing monitoring and continuous improvement. So there is a process that sits behind it. We're still a way off, obviously, from 2025. Please, if you want to keep up to date, you're looking for, when we get to that point, to review the proposed draft edition 10. Keep an eye on for the most up-to-date information. What I've gone through is an overview, and this is an overview draft process, but the more as this process evolves and we step through it, the accurate information will be on our website. So welcome you to jump on and look at that 2025. Yeah, we've got a bit of time. Okay, so part of the webinar series that we run is we certainly talk about SQF as we do, and part of my role with business development, talking about SQF and promoting SQF, but we also have the likes of Daniel. We have subject matter experts to come in to talk about topics that are relevant to the food industry and relevant to our current and emerging SQF certified businesses. And this very much ties in with our mission. So the mission is to deliver consistent, globally recognised food safety and food quality certification programs based on sound scientific principles applied across all industry sectors and valued by all of our stakeholders. So this is an information session with the and again, I don't want to jump ahead because Daniel will explain it much better than me, but emerging technology, digital transformation, how the food industry is shaping, and how awareness of the process and generally what's happening in the food industry. So the idea is to support industry with information around what's happening. I will note too that the SQF code version 9, certainly version 10 as well, and historically is designed for changes. So verification, validation. So with this digital transformation technology, data gathering, etc., the code encompasses all of these requirements that you can actually then, as you're going through this transformation process, if you are, then it can link back to the SQF code. And as we work our way through Daniel's presentation, I'll likely jump in and make reference to those as well. However, enough about me. Let me introduce Daniel. So I've got a long list of Daniel's background. And I want to make sure I've got it accurate. So um, extensive experience in manufacturing across lots of different industry segments, including food industry, automation industry. He has a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and industrial design. Now, Daniel is the one and only Siri assessor. I think I've got that right. In a, oh, sorry, I said Siri and my phone went off. Assessor. So it's Smart Industry Readiness Index Assessor, which is a program was established by the World Economic Forum to provide Industry 4.0 assessment and digital transformation. So he has extensive experience working across artificial intelligence, automation, adaptive manufacturing processes, 3D printing, virtual augmentation reality, virtual reality, and the list goes on and on. So when it comes to the digital transformation process, I've invited Daniel along to come and present so we can all learn something today. So Daniel, over to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Damien, for having me today. I really appreciate the opportunity to unpack digital transformation for food sector. And with that, I also thank SQF audience for joining us today. So first thing first, what is digital transformation? Digital transformation, it is a tool, right, in which a transformation comes first. Just like any other improvement activity, whether it's a process or quality improvement or safety improvement, we understand where we have to start and where we have to improve, right? In this case, the landscape is digital. In digital, where we are, point A, and where we have to go, point B. Now, digital transformation in today's landscape, it must be looked at from the viewpoint of Industry 4.0. Now, I know there's a bit of a confusion around what is digital transformation, what is Industry 4.0, and there's words like smart manufacturing and modern manufacturing. Yes, there has been a lot of words around this concept in totality, but digital transformation in itself is a tool, but Industry 4.0 is the revolution, an overall revolution in the way we conduct business, create value, resulting in complete change in society.
So Daniel, can I just ask you a question there? And potentially you're going to cover this, but getting from point A to point B, what, for a dummy like me, what does that mean? What do you mean?
Sure, certainly. So point A to point B, in a transformation landscape, that would be something like, for example, Uber, right? Uber saw a potential. They were providing services like delivering people from one place to another place, and then they moved into food delivery business. That's point A, point B. They saw the opportunity of changing the environment, and they moved into that environment, right? In any case, if you look at, for example, camera industry, similarly, Nikon is a good example. Nikon used to manufacture film cameras. And then from there, they saw the opportunity of coming into digital cameras landscape, while many other competitors did not. While getting into that landscape, they in fact relied on their complementary products like lenses. But they understood that that journey has to be taken. While many organizations tend to not understand that journey, but that's what means basically getting from point A to point B, knowing where you are today and getting where you want to be tomorrow.
Excellent. So from a food perspective, and I think of the innovation, particularly in the produce industry, and farmers have been amazing at this. So you're looking at spraying on crops, the old types of application spraying. Now we're going to, there's examples of drone spraying, targeted, using lasers for weeding crops rather than just chemical application and so forth. So this is going from a historical place, using that digital transformation process to go to something that's more potentially more efficient.
Certainly.
And getting a better outcome using digital technology.
Certainly. That's what digital transformation in its essence means. Utilizing, harnessing technology for your advantage. All right. So on that note, I wanted to share some examples from the history as we speak about. See, these are some of the examples that generally we all can relate to. Before I get into the core of food, watches, right? Watch is a primary example of how we used to have Swiss watches, precise parts, handcrafted, beautiful looking watches. Then came in the introduction of Casio. And I'm sure some of you might remember the Casio calculator watches that everyone used to wear around. That's the introduction of digital watch, right? What we see now, quite interestingly, is another evolution in the same industry, which is smartwatches. Now, smartwatches is a prime example of IoT. Sensors that can give you data on your health conditions, how much you're walking, your heart rate, and then it connects that to your phone, and then from your phone to your computer, and eventually to cloud from your email address and things like that. So that's the evolution of that industry. Now, anyone who has been around business space, either long enough to remember typewriters or probably use one of them, would remember a name called Remington. Right? Remington had 80% market share in New York Times. Right? Remington saw the transformation coming, but got overtaken by IBM Electronics. IBM was also in a business industry as well, business use cases. They introduced IBM Electronics and computers with it, and believe it or not, by 1990s, Remington was out of business. The biggest stakeholder, phone industry. So in these two previous examples, we see how technology works. But in phone industry, it's quite interesting. If we remember those business phones like BlackBerry, HTC, and even Nokia had that one of those big keyboard ones that slides up, and people were in business industry, they were using that. Phone industry had touchscreen phones for quite some time. The transformation didn't really come till Apple came along with their high value creation of Apple iPhones. Now these phones, the inherent technology did not change so much, but the way you present the technology to the consumers, creating new value changed. Again, harnessing technology and digital transformation. Movie industry is a prime example of, again, how the primary production does not change, right? In many probably food sector people can relate to that. The primary production does not change. People still create movies. You need actors, you need cameras, but how we consume those movies have changed, right? We had Blockbuster as a massive name in Australia. They had over 60,000 stores. While Blockbuster was investing their money in stores, Netflix started off with in-demand service. So you put your email address in, put your address in, and Netflix sends you a DVD or a CD to your home. And from there, while Blockbuster went bankrupt, Netflix invested into streaming business, which is another evolution of platform change. Further on, Netflix went on to invest in big data, where they can actually understand what people are watching and create and produce movies and television series based on vast amount of consumer data and what they like to use. Taxi industry, I don't have to speak much about it. We all know what happened. But again, a primary example there is we as human beings still have to get into the taxi, have the same value proposition. We get from point A to point B, but the platform changes. Now, this is quite interesting. And as we look at the same thing from food industry, now, what does this type of transformation looks like in food industry, right? In 1990s, the introduction of genetically modified corpses transformed agricultural pesticides by offering traits such as resistance to pests, herbicides, and harsh environmental conditions. Right? Companies like Monsanto developed genetically modified seeds, Roundup soybean seeds, leading to increased crops and yields, and reduced pesticides use. Right? That's 1990s. Food packaging in 2000s. Advanced packaging materials like technology improvement for food safety, shelf life improvement, provide convenience for consumers. Companies have introduced innovations such as modified atmosphere packaging, vacuum packaging, active packaging, and built-in antimicrobial agents or oxygen scavengers. These technologies help prevent spoilage, extend freshness, and maintain product quality during storage and transportation. Right? Again, in 2010, similar to what we saw in taxi industry, quite an interesting revolution by the extension of taxi industry is food delivery. We had the likes of Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, which has transformed into the restaurant industry by making it easier for customers to order food from their favorite eateries. Right? The platform uses algorithms to optimize delivery routes and provide real-time tracking for customers, quite a unique value proposition, and how customers actually can get value out of these devices. All the eateries are at their doorstep. Right? While some players initially had difficulty capturing this market, we saw how much it grew. And in fact, allowed the new entrants to enter market. We've had food trucks coming out. So established businesses were already there, but food trucks and other things are coming out and capturing this market by the use of digital technology in the food industry. Now, quite interestingly, in 2020s, and as I can say, it has been probably one of the biggest leaps with things like of vertical farming and 3D printing. Indoor vertical farming companies like Plenty and Aero Farms are using technologies to grow crops in a controlled environment. often without soil and with minimum water usage. These companies aim to revolutionize agriculture by producing fresh, locally grown produce year-round, even in urban areas. While some early players in this space may have faced challenges, in scaling their operations, there is a growing interest. We can see the demand from shareholders and market investors in vertical farming. And primary reason for that is location. You don't need, you can operate this business in a limited space. And it can provide a sustainable solution for many food production companies. Again, 3D printing, emerging technology, not just in food sector, but in fact in manufacturing as well. Right? Emerging technology that produces food to create intricate shapes and designs using edible products. While it's still in its early stage, food printing has the potential to revolutionize food industry. Customization, personalization, presentation, all of these things are becoming more and more demanding for customers. Right? Customers want these moves. And companies like Natural Mechanics and BHEX are developing 3D food printers for applications ranging from confectionaries and baked goods to so far as personalized nutritions and meal replacements. Right? Digital transformation has the potential to disrupt numerous markets and industries. And as just demonstrated, and should not be surprising, to be honest with you, should not be surprising as disruptions are only natural occurrences. And we've seen that over the years. And this has created a growing economy for us. It
so
allows
Daniel,
for market.
apologies, Daniel. So I think, yeah, in the food, obviously you're right. I mean, in the food industry, there's been so many transformations, particularly around quality and food safety. And if I can give it another example to that, and drawing on some of my background as well in the retail world and so forth, but also in manufacturing too, the amount of manual checking, be it from a quality or sorting produce or temperature checking or so forth. A lot of that technology has changed to using different types of automation, and then automatically recording that information. So you're getting more checks more frequently, more accurately. So then using that data to then work out what's working, what's not working, and ultimately reduce food safety risks and food quality risks and to be accurate. So that's probably a more recent trend, which ties in with CCP monitoring, which ties in with product sampling, inspection, and analysis. So which is all again part of the SQF code.
Certainly, look, these kind of things, as you just mentioned correctly, they allow for markets to refresh. It creates like new opportunities, allowing new economies to grow. Right? At the end of the day, disruptions lead to innovations, new technologies that lead to better quality for human life in general. And for these reasons, these technological evolutions, this digital transformation or Industry 4.0, or all these things should not be feared, rather embraced as a good thing for bringing new ideas and new technologies into the world. Right? Now, these kind of transformations were coined in the World Economic Forum of 2016 as the fourth industrial revolution, as we've seen so far. And what we see in these rise of next generation technologies are the new set of technology sets, advanced technology sets that are AI, blockchain, digital twins, AR, and all these technologies are evolving and creating new values and capturing new markets for customers. Now, while these technologies are promising to accelerate digital transformation, they can cause significant disruptions. They can shake the markets and cause companies to collapse, but also create an opportunity for new businesses, new markets, and innovation. Those are available not only to upstart, but established organizations as well. By definition, the fourth industrial revolution that we talked about is an emergence of cyber-physical systems that automate complex tasks, as you were saying earlier. We've seen these automations in the industry. But what has added an additional intricacy to this is the intelligence part, right? So these automatic tasks are now being done intelligently, right? And that's the fourth industrial revolution. As compared to the third industrial revolution, where we had tasks being automated by the use of computer technologies. And if you were to go further back into the backgrounds of this, we had first and second industrial revolution.
So therefore, the examples I was giving around data collection and automatic data monitoring, that's probably 3.0. But then using the the advancement in technology and the adaptations, be it AI and so forth, to then using that data more to get better outcomes.
Yeah, certainly. Look, data collection has been there forever. Digital transformation for our domain is nothing new, as we've seen and established quite clearly. I mean, 1990s, we had GMOs till today. And digital transformation in that essence is quite unique because the way technology evolves is very interesting, right? We see that technology basically in last 50 years has evolved more than what it has evolved in the last 500 years, right? And for those who understand maths and probably remember these exponential graphs, that's what we call technology evolution. So these graphs basically go straight and then peaks up straight away, right? Whereas compared to that, human brains are only capable of thinking in a linear way. So what would be the next technological evolution is quite a challenge for human brains to comprehend. And we've seen that from previous years. We've seen how this has caused companies to go out of the businesses. I mean, the likes of Nokia and Kodak had a massive challenge with their blockbusters. You can see what happened there. And similarly, in the food industry, I'm sure there's many examples of something like that as well. But this is where we talk about uncertainty of technology and advancement of technology. What this does is limits its adaptation, right? People are not sure where to invest their money, what to buy next, where to go next. And for that reason, we need to understand that advancement in technology is not only a challenge for newcomers, but in fact, it's an advantage for newcomers. In established organization, always a more challenge because we already have established set of technologies, and when you get into the new zone, it becomes more challenging and limits adaptation in habits. But what we see even now, and this is the times that we're living in, is unprecedented disruptions. And I'm not talking about disruptions just by your competitors or the market sector that you're in. I mean, COVID-19 is a perfect example of that. Right? Every single business unit was pushed into a corner and was pushed to buy a technology that probably they had no strategy for. They didn't see it coming. Very few industries were actually predicting that something like that would be required, right? And what happened in the return of that is people invested in these heavy investments in the technological space, and by the time they actually implemented it, they got people trained in it, COVID was gone, and the technology was over. So what we find interesting from here is it's not just about disruptions. I mean, disruptions are growing even more so than ever now, right? We will see more of them every now and then. I mean, whether it be global crisis, supply chain disruptions, shortage in material and resources, right? Even in Melbourne, just if you look at the start of the year, we had the massive Optus issue. And just last 2 weeks ago, we had a massive storms. Offices had to be shut down. But things like remote work and other digital technology capabilities have allowed organizations to cope with it, right? With these unprecedented disruptions come uncertainty of implementation, as I said. So by the time you implement, you get people trained, you see that many of the stakeholders, many of the shareholders, many of the C-suits are sitting over there and thinking, oh, we didn't really get the return that we expected. That's quite common. That's nothing new. And the reason for that is what we tend to miss is learning curves that people tend to have in these things. And this is the reason why you would see Australian governments and Victorian governments investing in getting people to learn how to use advanced technologies, right? So what do we see arising from these things? Questions like where to start in digital transformation, too many options, too little time, how to approach advanced technologies, where to invest, how to scale and achieve return on investment, are we going in the right direction, too many terminologies and definitions, right? And these are global challenges.
To add to that as well, Daniel, I think is change is scary.
Oh, absolutely.
So change, and again, tying it back to having a food safety culture and being open to raising issues and addressing issues and so forth. But change outside of a culture to generally it can be difficult. So a program potentially that's working, you're managing your CCPs or your traceability or internal audits or customer complaint program, taking that to how it can improve and using the technology to actually go through and improve upon it. I think that can be a challenge and be, as I said, be scary for the people.
No, certainly. We've understood that. We've understood that even in our program as a Smart Innovation, we've understood that change is the first and foremost thing. People and culture are part of that. Hence why we've always went with the approach of, before you get into anything, you get to get the people right. You're going to conduct the workshops. before you get into any of the other spaces of what technology we need, where we need the technology, how to invest in technology, let's get the people in the room and let's talk about technology. Just like what we're doing today, getting people familiarized and raising that awareness of what's to come. So people are not scared when it comes. So with that being said, what are the enablers of digital transformation, right? Digital transformation utilizes 5 key domains, 5 key focus areas. Number one being data. So utilizing data to create new values, for example, Google Maps or Waze that we use every day. Number 2, innovation. In the world of digital economy, quick testing, quick prototyping are extremely important. It speeds up the innovation cycle, and you can test products and launch it to the market, creating leading advantage. You can be the first comer in the market. As we talk about leading advantage, we cannot forget competition and other enablers of digital transformation. The one reality of digital transformation is that it eases entries into the new market for new players. Even you don't have to be a new startup or a startup organization. Even in a new market, established organization enter very easily, right? And you don't need to have a brand reputation or reputation of that industry from past 100 years. And neither do you need to know what are the best practices of that industry. Why? Well, first and foremost, you have the global market at your footstep to acknowledge your product and provide feedback. Second, you have infinite number of information pools where you can get best practices from by the use of digital technologies. All right. Fourth, value. Digital transformation allows new creations and deliver new values. As we said, competitive advantage, innovation results in value creation. Right. One tangible example of this, as you mentioned correctly as well earlier, retail industry. People are tend to move more towards buying products online, and that's the value creation for them in that. And even in that case, the online space has impacted even B2B market quite drastically. I mean, we can jump in and convert our suppliers, our production facilities, or if we are utilizing any third-party spaces within a space of 1 week by having a quick meeting, reviewing the documents online, and setting up times and meetings calls, and signing a document by the end of the week. So that's the B2B sector has changed so much and has segmented the value chain and supply chain for many industries, including food. And lastly, customers are key to all of this. And vast access to market and easy comparison is making customers less loyal. And demand for customers is ever changing, as we know. Customers are not only less loyal, but very vocal with the access of digital platforms or social media platforms. And the errors or mistakes businesses make within their quality processes or in the final product are very quickly published online. And depending on, which generation your customer is from, they'll either jump to Google reviews, Twitter, or even TikTok these days. And it has a significant impact on business reputations and their products, right? So what we understood, the old sources of competitive advantage are disappearing, all right? As we mentioned, vertical farming, it's making location less important. Similarly, think about a world where we had remote work from the get-go, from the start. Would they be ever in need of city or CBDs? So that is in itself is a catastrophic change in how we operate and shows that locations are less and less important, right? Scaling and growing is now easier with digital technology, right? Starting a business and growing it is becoming easier with utilization of remote work, with accessibility to global market, global manufacturers, global producers, global suppliers at your footsteps. You don't have to worry about scaling, how you're going to grow. Learning curves are becoming less challenging as well with sessions like webinars, virtual training sessions, even AR and VR in this space where you can train with them as well. And overall vertical integration of any organization or enterprise integration of any organization is becoming less challenging, right? Manufacturing industries and startups can set up businesses in Australia and set up manufacturing capabilities in China without even setting up their own resources and productions. So suddenly, all these domains are facilitated by digital transformation, but the solution also lies in harnessing advanced technologies and digital transformation. So where do we start? First and foremost, as I said to you, point A to point B. Digital transformation is all about that. Where are we today? Not in only terms of technology and not in only terms of processes. And this is the common issue in the industry that we've seen is many times these transformation initiatives, whenever the word digital is associated with it, has been given to an IT department or a department that deals with innovation or innovation center. But what we tend to miss quite often is organization, people, and culture. And we found that to be a key aspect in any transformation journey. So when we talk about current state, we have to look at process, technology, and organization. Is your workforce capable, or do they need to be upskilled? On top of that, are your stakeholders around it, right? Digital transformation, as you correctly said, is very scary, and people are still very scared of it. I mean, the prime example of it is my grandma, as I said here. My grandma thought phones, TV screens, they're the devil's devices, right? But believe it or not, she has her favorite Pakistani dramas that she watches. And by the use of the same phones, she calls my mom from Pakistan to Australia and other kids. So you can see, even on an emotional level and sentimental level, what values these digital technologies can create. And as I said to you, improve the life choices. And people are always scared of it, especially in the country like Australia, where we have more aged workforce than the young workforce. We have to focus on people and culture. We have to get people trained. The first step is workshops around technology and processes that you're going to improve. Then we have to understand where we want to achieve, the point B, the future state, what we want to achieve at the end of the day. Where are we going? As I said to you, chasing the technology is never going to work. By the time you get the technology, it's outdated. And by the time you get people who trained it, there's no use for it, right? So we've understood that we cannot chase the technology. The technology has to, work for people. At the end of the day, technology is the tool. It has been developed to help people with their businesses. And I'll tell you something interesting, David. If you have a technology in your organization and it's too difficult to use it, there's something wrong. It should be easy to use. Otherwise, it's not the right perfect way, right? Right. So holistic assessments allow us to do that. Complete end-to-end assessment of our organization, where we are, where we want to be. Then the next things that we've understood that we need to focus on is impact on bottom lines. Right. Cost categories. Where is it costing you the most? Right. It's technological solutions these days, especially if you're looking at the domains of AI and digital twin, they can be millions if you're looking at multinational corporations, things like that. So really, is that solution going to help you with your cost categories, with your cost factors, where the most expense is going? If not, is that suitable for you? So first and second thing you have to look at as cost categories. And along with that is your business objectives. Now, again, we've seen it many times in many organizations. They separate their digital strategy and digital objectives, their IT strategy and IT objectives, with their business objectives. But we have to understand, digital is the world we're living in. It's the fourth industrial revolution. Businesses cannot operate in their conventional ways. Businesses cannot operate with their basic project management, business management techniques. They have to harness digital technology to create value. So digital technological solutions and their objectives and digital strategies should be the key objectives of businesses. So if you're talking about production efficiency, how does that relate to digital technology? That should be the discussion of the boardroom, right? Then the fourth thing we've seen, and this is the reason why we said it's a startup space, why digital, how to start digital transformation, is projects come in and they sit there for 2 to 3 years, and you're talking about this great project, and the start of it, there was a massive momentum, everyone was happy about it, everyone was on it, and by the time you actually launch it, people have lost all motivation because it took 3 years to actually fulfill that project, right? So it has to be quick and easy. It has to give you quick results, right? It has to be in a strategic way that you can get shorter term results as well, right? And then lastly, the most important one is harmonization. So for example, similar to SQF or ISO 9000, these kind of standards, what they do, they build common language around, for example, food quality or quality in general. Similarly, we need a common language around technology and digital transformation, because intelligence or AI is a definition that is subjective at the moment. Everyone has their own definition, right? Automation, what does that mean? Process improvement, what does that mean? Connectivity, how much? These are all different. But when we build a harmonization around it, when we give definitions to these words, then we see that we can improve, especially for multinational corporations, especially people who have more than one site, more than one place and one location, so they can see how their whole company works.
Daniel, I think if I can just give an example, and I think in the food industry, and I'm talking very generally here, we'll have a lot of data. We'll be pulling a lot of data, be it CCP monitoring or QCP monitoring, be it getting in data to complete risk assessments, and these are all elements of requirements for SQF. Environmental monitoring programs, internal audits will have a lot of data. What tends to happen is, and it's a mixed bag, I'm talking very generally now, is that we don't always utilize that data to its optimum. The data might be point A to give us where a point A is, but to get to our point B, that can be challenging because we don't necessarily know. We want an improvement, but how much improvement? What are we going to get to, and so forth. So, I think if you're using elements of the SQF code to say, hey, this is where because it's a requirement of the code that we need to do these things, using that as part of your point B, to say, look, this is what we need to get to, and this is what we want to improve, and doing that so we get better, reduce our risk, get a better food safety outcome, effectively protect our business, and better quality outcomes as well. Again, no expert, and one of the ones I want to give you, would love you to give an example, conscious of time, because I love it. It's very interesting, but traceability is another one, which I'd love you to just give us because traceability, again, requirement of the code, requirement of regulatory requirements as well. I know that the likes of blockchain being used for traceability now, that's being considered in part. Can you just give us briefly an example of what's happening in that space?
Certainly. Look, blockchain is an interesting one because blockchain has always been looked at from the point of Bitcoin or this coin or that coin. But blockchain in essential is a ledger at the end of the day that gets established at the point of where the farming is happening, all the way to production, packaging, and to the consumer. And the consumer can access that ledger and see what processes that product went through to gain, again, trust in the product manufacturer, and at the same time, to make sure that, all right, the product meets their requirement, whether it be nutritional requirement or dietary requirement, right? And blockchain in that essence is a perfect example of traceability because at any point, at any milestone, whether it is in the farm, whether it's in a factory getting processed, whether it's after packaging, whether it's in a shelf on a supermarket, and from shelf to the fridge of the customer, you can always trace that. And a great example of that, another one, is a QR codes across the packaging lines. People are now using those to do the same thing for accessibility and traceability of products. And as you said earlier, certainly underutilization of data is a big challenge. Cloud is a prime example of it. People still upload and download files from cloud rather than sharing it digitally. So that brings us how to scale, all right? How to be future ready. Okay. First and foremost, once you've got your starters right, you need a digital strategy, whether it be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. What do you want to achieve? That can be incorporated into your business objectives. On that note, you need a digital journey roadmap. So your milestones, where you're going, what do you have to achieve next? Then you have to benchmark to your industry. So food industry has to know what other people are doing. All right. If you don't know what other people are doing, you might be over-investing or under-investing in your technology. Then achieving business objectives, you have to make sure that it's not a dead end. It's not a project that it started once and we don't know where it went. It has to achieve the business objectives. It has to get those return on investments. And then using those standardizations, you have to build terminology and reference models for your organization to scale. So when new people who are joining the organizations, new graduates, new managers, they know what model you're working on. On that note, how does this create benefit, right? We've talked about digital transformation. It's a great thing. How does it create benefit? Well, first and foremost, improve efficiencies, right? Industry 4.0 technologies such as automation, robotics, IoT devices, streamline production processes, reduce manual labor, optimize resource utilizations, leading to increased efficiency and productivity, enhance quality control. Advanced analytics and AI algorithms enable real-time monitoring and analysis of production data, allowing for early detection of defects or deviation in product quality. This proactive approach to quality control helps minimize waste and ensure consistent product standards. Greater traceability and transparency. We were talking about that earlier. Blockchain technology is a prime example of that. Provides secure and transparent means of tracking food products throughout the supply chain, from farm to fork. Enhance food safety. IoT sensors, data analytics tools enable continuous monitoring of environmental conditions such as temperature, humidity, and hygiene levels in food production and processing facilities. By detecting potential hazards or deviations from safety standards in real time, companies can take immediate corrective actions to prevent food contamination, ensure compliance with regulatory requirements. Optimize inventory management, big issue in inventory issues. Big data analytics, AI-driven forecasting algorithms help food companies accurately predict demand, optimize inventory levels, and reduce access to stock and storage. This enables more efficient supply chain management, minimize storage costs, and ensure timely delivery of products to customers. Customized consumer experience. We've talked about consumer being demanding and less loyal. So, so personalization of nutrition recommendations based on individual preferences, dietary requirements, and health goals can be delivered through AI-powered platforms and mobile applications. I mean, we've seen very limited use of apps by food processing and food production companies on how they can get the data on nutrition. This allows consumers to make informed food choices tailored to their specific needs, leading to improved health outcomes and customer satisfaction. Right? Sustainable practices. Sustainability is on an agenda of every single board across food industry and any other industry. So Industry 4.0 technologies are in line with Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations. These technologies allow food industries to, by reducing energy consumption, minimize waste, optimize resource utilization. For example, precision agriculture techniques enabled by IoT sensors and data analytics help farmers optimize water usage, minimize chemical inputs, and maximize crop yields, leading to more environmentally friendly farming practices. Enhance decision-making ultimately for the board of directors, for the companies, for CEOs, access to real-time data and advanced analytical tools, empowers food industry stakeholders to make data-driven decisions that optimize operations, improve profitability, and identify new business areas for opportunities. Right. The agility and responsiveness to market trends and consumer preferences enable companies to stay competitive, right, in rapidly evolving Industry 4.0 environment and landscape as we discussed. And these benefits demonstrate how Industry 4.0 technologies are transforming the food industry, driving innovation, efficiency, sustainability across the value chain altogether. We've interestingly have some of the data from our own program, Smart Innovation Program, that we've seen. This data is not limited to food industry, but what we've seen across manufacturing and food and other domains is we've seen 5 to 10% increase in production efficiency, 15% quality efficiency, 50% increase in operational resilience, 20% increase in inventory holding and cost reduction. As I said, 100% production visibility and traceability with use of blockchains, barcodes, so many techniques. 50 to 30% labor productivity increased, 15% quality assurance increased, 30 to 50% machine downtime or preventative maintenance in that case. All that being said, what does the future look like for us? All right. This is quite interesting. So technologies like Internet of Things, IoT devices are being used in food production facilities to monitor equipment performance, track inventory levels, and ensure food safety. Sensors embodied in the machine can collect data on temperatures, humidity, and other environmental conditions, allowing for real-time monitoring and predictive maintenance to prevent equipment failure and minimize downtimes. Right? Big data analytics. Damien, have you ever wondered why all Netflix documentaries are crime associated? That's a prime example of big data analytics. Basically analyzing a big set of data pool to see what consumer likes, and in return providing the consumers exactly what they like. It's basically future-proof, right? And that's what we've seen even in food industry, right? So big data analytics is being employed to analyze vast amount of data generated through food supply chains, including production, distribution, and consumption. By leveraging data analytics tools and algorithms, companies can gain insight into customer preferences, market trends, and operational inefficiencies, enabling better decision-making and optimization of processes. We've got things like artificial intelligence. Everyone wants a piece of that. Everyone wants a piece of that. So what does that look like in food industry? Well, AI technologies such as machine learning and predictive analytics are being used in various applications within food industry. For example, AI algorithms can optimize production schedules, forecast demands, improve quality control by detecting anomalies or defects in products. AI robots are also being deployed in food processing facilities for tasks such as sorting, packaging, and quality inspections. I mean, robotics and automation, one of the old technologies, but still very relevant. Primary example. But again, while I'm mentioning all these technologies, I mean, I want to bring your attention to people and culture. I mean, the primary example of this I can give to you is one of the robotics and automation is AGVs, which is automated guided vehicles or driverless forklifts. Now, one of the examples I remember is we've had one company that implemented these AGVs. And these AGVs In the back end, where the programmers were sitting, who put these AGVs in place, they keep getting complaints from the site saying these AGVs are off track. They're not working right. They're just not on the line. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. And programmers keep looking into the algorithms, keep looking into the data sets of what's happening, and they keep rerouting these AGVs, these forklifts on the same track. And it keeps happening until they went to the site and they looked at the condition of the AGVs, and they were extremely damaged. So when they checked the CCTV recording, the other drivers just bumping into them. So this is what a prime example of it. When people are ready for the change and you introduce the change never happens. So all these technologies, they are there for the people to make their lives easier. And we need to make people upskill to harness these technologies. That's the key takeaway I'll say for anyone if they're listening to it. And how we do it? Well, again, there is a capability of advanced technology that can do it for you. As I said to you, augmented reality, virtual reality, right? AR and VR technologies are being used to improve training, maintenance, and quality control processes in food industries. For example, employees can receive immersive training simulations using VR headsets, allowing them to practice operating equipment or handling hazardous materials in safe virtual environment. Again, it ties back to safety of food quality and safety of individuals from work health and safety point of view. AR applications can also provide real-time guidance and information to workers on production floor, improving productivity and accuracy. So, Damien, overall, we've seen how this can be enabled. But as I said to you, the key takeaway for anyone who's looking at it that I am learning from it is that digital transformation has to be looked at from the lens of people in this scope of Industry 4.0. If people can harness it, you can create value. And the best way to approach it with the standardized framework where you can, first and foremost, bring people to the same level of understanding and then implement change. That thing, Damien, look, thank you very much for this session. I hope it was insightful and valuable. I mean, digital transformation is my passion, and informing people about it is extremely rewarding for me. And I'd like to thank you and the SQF audience for listening to me and providing me this opportunity to actually talk about digital transformation. I absolutely love these topics. These are discussions for me.
Daniel, that was excellent, and I greatly appreciate it. I think your passion shines through. I think that, I mean, the take home for me really is that this AI technology, blockchain, digital transformation, all of the upcoming technology, rather than looking at it as a challenge and change is scary, but as you said, as an opportunity to make, you know, the role of the QA manager to get the outcome of safe food, to get the outcome of quality, looking at it's coming, it's here. Yeah. Looking at those opportunities that we can actually help improve in our food safety space. The food safety role is significant. There's lots of other things that the QA manager generally tends to have to worry about. It's part of it, but using this, you know, digital transformation as opportunities to get a better outcome that's going to be easier, more efficient, reduce your risk, using the data to do your risk assessment, support internal audit outcomes, predictive modeling, all those things. You know, I could go on, but I'm conscious of time. So Daniel, can people, obviously that's your email address, digital technology questions, people can email you. Is that okay?
Perfect. I'm more than happy to answer anyone.
Yeah. No, look, no such thing as a silly question. So please feel free to email Daniel, and likewise for me. So that's my email address on the screen. If you have any SQF related questions, digital technology, I'll do my best. I'll probably loop in Daniel as well. But please, if you want to come to me and ask any questions, I'll do my best to answer. And if not, I'll get Daniel involved from a digital technology perspective. Daniel, thank you very much for your time. Thank you everyone for watching and joining us. I hope you've learned something. I've certainly learned something today, and it's certainly the way of the future. I don't think it's going to go away. It's here. So let's embrace it and get a better outcome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.